What's your reaction to the regret as expressed by Ibrahim Babangida?
Too little, too late. I am convinced, and I have expressed even before the book was launched a few days ago, that it was going to be a pack of lies. My own conviction stems from the fact that Nigeria is so backwards, that justice is so delayed, that people's lives are ruined. The economy of this country was destroyed. The future of this country was suspended in 1993 by Babangida. And for him to come back 32 years later to slap the Nigerian people in the face, across the face, with a book launch and the launch for his presidential library, which raised over 17 billion in 3 hours, instead of rotting in jail, shows that Nigeria is not working. Nigeria has never worked, and we must make sure that this country works, so that people who engage in impunity and criminal activities just don't get away with it in such a way that they're even rewarded years later. I feel so sad. But it's interesting that this has been our position for the 32 years, that Abiola won the election, she ought to have been made president immediately. And this country made considerable progress, traveling down the lane of democratic progress, and also, I believe, economic progress. But that was suspended and disrupted by Babangida and his gangs. And they came back yesterday. That room where he launched his book yesterday was the garden of all the criminals that made Nigeria unable to progress.
IBB says he didn't personally annul the result of the election or the election. He is pointing the accusing finger at the late General Sani Abacha, who was his then Minister of Defense. But he says it takes responsibility because it happened in his administration. Specifically, IBB says that Abacha went ahead to make the announcement, or to ask for the announcement to be made, annulling the election without his approval, IBB's approval. What's your take on that?
IBB has never told the truth in his life, and I'm not surprised that he has continued to engage in falsehood. The Yorubas have a common saying that when a criminal wants to lie, he will say that his witness has died. And that is what IBB did exactly with mentioning Abacha. IBB never wanted to hand over power. We were part of this. Nobody told me the story. We forced him out of power August of 1993. He postponed the transition program several times. And even Bola Tinubu, who was there yesterday, mentioned that even after they had their weak diarchy, in which there were elections to elect senators, lawmakers, IBB severally postponed the launch of the legislative arm of government, which he had sanctioned elections for, because he never wanted to hand over power. He wanted to become a civilian president, and he just kept dribbling the Nigerian people for as long as it lasted, until he dribbled himself. He dribbled himself out of power. That was why he was given the sobriquet Maradona, and he later also confirmed that he did so much evil to Nigerians that he accepted the label of being an evil genius.
He's also said yesterday at that book launch that the decision and the actions taken were in the interest of Nigeria to avert some unnamed impending doom that would have befallen the country if Abiola became president. Do you understand what he's saying? Can you relate with that? What are your thoughts on it?
No, I'm sorry to say, it is all foolish talk, and this is what happens when people don't get put in their place by the system that ought to put everybody in place in a society like ours. If IBB had been taken care of, as arrested, prosecuted, and jailed for the monumental crime he committed against Nigerian people, he would be probably due for parole now from imprisonment, and he will be begging to be paroled into freedom after 33 years. But they don't teach history anymore in our schools in a way that people can understand what's happening. I was at a conference yesterday with a lot of young people, and when we asked, when I asked so many of them individually, if they were around when IBB was doing all this. It turns out the average age in that room was 25 years. They didn't know. They just heard about IBB, annulment of June12, and some of the things I've heard from me, on Twitter, Facebook, and just other platforms, what they were told. So there is no strong connection with the current generation with that very heinous crime. I must admit, and he knows that, and his collaborators and co-conspirators understand that. The Nigerians generally also have very short memory.
Some people have an issue, and I'm going to make it the final two questions so you can run off, but some people have an issue with IBB not coming out explicitly or directly to apologize, rather to say he regrets, and to admit that MK won that election. Do you think that a direct apology is necessary from this man?
No, an apology is unnecessary. It's punishment that is necessary. And, I dare say that, it doesn't matter when he's punished, but IBB ought to be punished, even if it's one day to the day of his death. He deserves to be punished.
Talking about punishment, finally, what should Nigerians do with this information? Yes.
I think you must understand, if you are walking around in the world, or you're a citizen of the globe, you would understand that it's never too late to punish people for the crimes, especially when crimes against humanity is involved. As I speak with you, there are people who are still being punished for the Second World War. There are people who participated in Nazi concentration camps, who tortured people. They're in their 90s and they're still undergoing trial. Some are still going to jail. Yeah. When I arrived in the U.S., I think 1999 or thereabouts, the men who carried out the bombing of the Baptist church in Birmingham, I think, one of them was 84 years old. You can try and research it. And he was arrested. They just found out he was one of the people that carried out that crime in 1963. As 1999 or thereabout, they are still in jail as we speak, if they have not died. So there's no time limitation placed on when people can be punished for this type of crimes. So apology is not what is needed, because people ought to be deterred from doing this in the future. Anybody who wants to annul election, rig election, would derive inspiration from a Babangida who did it, and then 33 years later is launching in presidential library and getting paid, and accolades poured on him. And some of the people who are even pouring accolades on him were people who claimed they were opposed to him at that time. And this is why I was saying that the pro-democracy movement brought together a bunch of very deceptive and, hypocritical characters. They weren't actually fighting for Abiola at that time. They were just capitalizing on the popularity of the opposition of the public against the annulment. And you see them now. They have come out and they are competing to donate money to Babangida, and nobody's talking about what happens to Abiola, whose future was destroyed. His wife was killed. His family was scattered. If they admit that he won the election, then he should posthumously become the president of Nigeria. His family placed, but that's not my issue. My issue is how to get people who carry out these heinous crimes to be punished for it.